Hello friends, it's cooking day. We're cooking simple from scratch. Well, for the most part, we're gonna cook from scratch. And today, guess what? We're gonna make that home-style lasagna. I'm not gonna really give you measurements because this is a recipe you do with love. I don't use a whole lot of pasta. I use it on the bottom layer, the top layer, then I add the cheese to it. I have some Italian sausage. It's in the casing and we'll take that out of the casing before we put it in the pan. I'm using salt, pepper, garlic, real garlic, red pepper flakes, oregano, and basil. So let me get the pan and I put some avocado oil. I'm going to get it heated up. I'm going to take the sausages out of the casings. I've taken the rest out. I just wanted to show you how we do this, and we just take the casing off. And that's it. That's as easy as it is. I'm going to have this all kind of crumbled, so that way whenever I get ready to make the tomato sauce, I'll add my water and my freeze-dried tomatoes to make my tomato sauce, because I did freeze-dry my tomatoes from the garden. Of course, you don't have to do all that. You can just get you a couple of cans from the store if that's what you have. This recipe is not difficult, really, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time to put it together. I've already got my oven preheated to 350. And all I'm really going to be doing is put it in the oven to kind of heat it through and to melt my cheese, because everything else is going to be cooked. Now I'm just going to kind of put this in here, and I'm flavoring it to what I would like. You flavor it as much or as little as you would like. I'm also going to add raw garlic, onions that I've got out of my freezer. Boy, adding that garlic, it just kind of gives it really fragrant. This is really starting to smell really good. Now, even though I've used Italian sausage in here, and I use the kind that comes in a casing, if you can find whatever kind of sausage you would like and it doesn't have the casing, it just comes in a bulk package, typically a pound, you're welcome to use that as well. Now you can use turkey, you can use beef, chicken, any type of protein you want. You can even tofu it if you'd like. And as you can tell, it's pretty much almost done. So I'm going to add some frozen mushrooms that's already chopped for me. Now, since I'm using freeze-dried tomatoes, I have to rehydrate them. I could put it in here and put the water in it, but I don't want the tomatoes to be kind of clumpy, and I want to make sure it's totally hydrated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and put it in some water, and I'm going to rehydrate it until it's the consistency that I really want. Just kind of put it together. So there's my tomato sauce, and like I said, it is just pure tomatoes and waters. That's all it is. So I'm going to put that in here, and I may need to make some more, and that's fine. We'll add it as we need it. Like I said, when I make lasagna, I kind of see what I have in my refrigerator and in my pantry, and that's how I make it. So, oh yes, we're going to have lots more. I always use mozzarella, and I use Parmesan cheese. Those are my two favorites. Okay, I'm going to put the lid on this, and I'll come back to it in a few minutes to check on it. Okay, now let's check and see if it's got the mushrooms dissolved. Okay, while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to take my pan and I'm going to spray it. Now you notice that I have lined it with aluminum foil, and I did the heavier version versus the light, because whenever I bring it out of the pan, I don't want it to fall. And I want to keep as least amount of mess and the cheese from the pan itself, so I don't have as much to clean up. And this way, when it sits for a few minutes and sits up, I'll be able to take it out, put it on the counter, slice it up, and put it in my containers that are self-serving. So actually I get 2 servings per container, and then I'll freeze them, and then I'll get them out as I want them. Got a spoon to taste. It needs more garlic. So instead of grinding up more garlic, I'm going to just get some powder here. Just a little bit more. Okay, I got the garlic. Needs a little bit more salt. You want to go sparingly on your spices because you can always add. You can't take away once you put it in. And one thing I'm not adding that you may want to make this more like your pasta sauce that you get from the store is add a little bit of sugar. Whether it's 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, whatever your liking is, because the tomato sauce, they actually do have a lot of sugar in it. Mine doesn't have any, so mine's going to be a little bit different. But if you want that store-bought kind of taste, then you want to add the sugar as well now. It's coming together. Add some more salt. It's amazing the flavors that the salt can bring out in your food and what salt can do. And another thing this is allowing me to do is reduce the liquid. Okay, so now let's take another taste. You know, I'm not getting too much heat. Let me get some more red pepper flakes. If you're saying, Vanessa, you really need to give us a recipe, the best thing I can do is have you to go online, look up homemade lasagna, then you look at the ingredients on the recipes and you find out what you like in your lasagna. And if you find one that's almost everything, but you like, I don't like that, or I like to have this, just switch it out or add it. Lasagna is very forgiving, kind of like spaghetti. You get to kind of make that your own as well. Let's taste it one more time. Okay, let me turn it off. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and assemble it. So what I have here is I have my pan. Let me move this over just a tad. Have my mozzarella cheese, Parmesan, and I'm going to mix them together. And if you ask me how much, Vanessa, are you using, it looks about 3 to 4 cups, but you can use as little or as much in whatever kind of cheese you'd like to make it yours. Now I'm using oven ready the lasagna noodles, so I don't have to put them in the boiling water to get them ready. This will work just fine. And I'm also not going to be using a whole lot because I have to be conscious of my carbs. So now I have my mixed cheese, I have my ricotta, I have my noodles. The way I like to layer, I like to put some sauce down first, a dill of ricotta layer as well, then my noodles. Meat, sauce, and cheese, another dill layer of noodles, and then the rest of my toppings, and then I'll put it in the oven. You know, and if you wanted to save time, you probably could mix your ricotta and your meat mixture if you wanted to. I'm not going to be able to spread it easy, so me just putting it in chunks works just as well. It'll spread when it heats up. Okay. I'm not going to put cheese on this layer, but I will the next. We'll just put that one there. Another layer. I get to make it my way. And you're going to make it your way in your kitchen. And if somebody doesn't like something that you're cooking for, then you just kind of leave that ingredient out. Or you can do half and half, make another pan to accommodate the people that don't like certain ingredients. And if you don't like ricotta, you can also use cottage cheese. Okay, let's put some cheese in this layer. As you can tell, I'm not skimpy with the cheese because I like my protein. Okay, so we got that. We laid the noodles this way for the most part, and then one strip over here. So we're gonna lay these over the one that we did the opposite way. There we go. Now we're just gonna use the rest of the mixture. Let's put the ricotta. Now you can go as sparingly as you want or as much. Typically I use a 15-ounce container. When I did the price match, it was more expensive to buy the big container than it was 2 small ones. So I chose 2 small ones. You know, we're all trying to watch our pennies these days. You know, one thing I do also to save money, and as we're seniors and getting on a fixed income, and I have learned to buy a lot of stuff when it's on sale. Then also buy things that's in season. Like right now, fruits and vegetables are in because of it being summer. Go ahead and get quite a few of them and then freeze them. And if you lay them flat, you'll be able to get more in your freezer. And then just put your old things first and use it as you go. And that way you are able to have stuff in the winter months and you're not having to pay premium prices. Especially for the herbs. Have you seen the prices of fresh herbs? That's crazy. It's not expensive to cook from scratch. Matter of fact, it's a lot cheaper to cook from scratch and a lot more healthier if you don't use a lot of pre-packaged items that has a lot of ingredients that you can't read. Or I hope this inspires you to get in the kitchen and see that lasagna really doesn't take you that long to make, you know, when you're up on your feet. What takes the longest is the cooking time. And so now we're going to put the rest of the cheese on it. And when you buy this at the grocery store, you're paying probably 15, 20 bucks for it, depending on your area of the United States that you live. So we're going to put this in the oven at 350, and we'll see you back in 45 minutes or when it's done. Okay, so friends, we are back. I have a 22-ounce container. It'll give me 2 meals because I'll have a salad with it. And the lasagna is not cool enough for me to be able to take the aluminum foil and set it on the countertop without it collapsing and the juices run out because it hasn't set long enough. So I'll take a small piece out so we can do a taste test. That is really good. So I will let this cool down a lot more, and then I will put it in my containers over here like this one, and then we will have lasagna anytime we'd like. This is the best way for me to make lasagna semi from scratch with very little preservatives, and I can make it my way. And this way I bake one time, get 6, actually I'll get 12 meals. For most people, one of these containers would be a meal. For me, it's 2. Well, thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen. I hope that this inspires you to get in and make you some lasagna. Thanks for joining me, friends, and we'll see you next time.